Welcome ladies and gentlemen back to another Genshin Impact video. I've been playing this game since global release since day 1, every day. That's about 51 days on the day of publishing this video. There have been mistakes I made that reduced my current progression, and I'm making this video so you will not make those mistakes in your grind towards AR45. Before I begin, I want to thank my current members. Thank you for supporting me, supporting the channel, because without my supporters I wouldn't be anywhere. If you also want to support this channel and get some perks along the way, you can click the join button below and join the Big Brain Club. Without further ado, let's jump in. For mistake number 1, I want to talk about over-leveling in between world levels. As you know, at certain adventure rank levels, we get to upgrade our world levels. When a world level increases, we get to progress characters and weapons further for ascension. Now, for weapons, this is not the case since you use materials to level them up and they don't gain experience from battle. But characters do gain experience from battle, which is why over-leveling can be a problem when using all your materials on them. For example, world level 0 and 1 have a max character level of 40. World level 2 raises that to 50, World level 3 raises that to 60, and so on. You might have seen my previous video when I talk about DPS or support characters, so you'll know what I'm referring to in the next bit, but if you haven't yet, go check out that video in the card section. Anyway, your current party at this stage in game will consist out of at least 1 DPS and 2 or 3 support characters. Your first instinct is to max out their levels in the complete party, but this is such a waste of materials. What you should do is, for your DPS, level him up to the max level -1. If you're world level 2, that would be 49 out of 50. For your support characters, keep them at the world level's minimum, being 40. The reason for this is due to the fact that you will be grinding out quests and defeat enemies and gain experience along the way. This will eventually get your characters up a level or close to a level when reaching the next world level. Then, when you do reach the next world level, you can repeat the previous process. Ascend them, level the DPS up to the max level -1, and the support to the max level of the previous world level. You'll feel good when your DPS is level 69 out of 70 for a while. Heyo! But since we're talking about ascending characters and world levels, what you will need to do in between these world levels is to defeat world bosses and elites to gather materials for your next character ascension. When a character is maxed, you can see what the character needs to ascend at the next world level. But when it isn't maxed, you can still click the level button and then click on the ascend icon. You will see the materials you need in the next world level to ascend them. Gather these materials for your main team and off team at the earlier stages of the world level. Go beat those Regis finds and hypostasis for your teams, but also try to find some good farming routes for the elites around the world. They respawn daily and cost no resin. The route you see on screen is the one I do every day, or try to do every day. We're not done yet talking about mistakes on leveling up characters, oh no. When ascending your characters, you will likely want to level them up and ascend them to reach that sweet Ascension Phase 4 final talent. And then level them up and ascend them even further. I totally agree on this when we're talking about DPS characters. I would like to have them as high as possible as well, given the max level -1 rule of course. But my thoughts on this is different when it comes to support characters. When we're talking about support characters, I think it's more valuable for them to ascend them to Phase 4 and then stop leveling them. Ascend them to Phase 4 and keep them at level 60. I will again point you toward the DPS and support video from earlier so you can see which characters will benefit more from the selected roles if you're not certain yourself. You might be wondering why exactly. Well, your main DPS will always do the big damage. Your support characters are mostly there for a quick swap to use their skills or bursts, then you swap back to your main DPS and hack away. Why level up a character further if you need those resources more on your main DPS, or maybe a future main DPS that you're saving up for? So keeping them on Phase 4 minimum level is the best way to go in my opinion. Leveling up the wrong talents can cause quite some pain down the road. Gathering the material books is mind-numbingly painful since you don't get a lot of them per run. When using talents on your main DPS, it's always smart to level up all the talents evenly with the priority set on the basic attack. But for a support, you really do not need to invest in the basic attack at all. If you focus mainly on their skill, like Official for example, level up her skill talent to the max. Her burst is less important since after using her burst, it's still the skill Oz that stays on the battlefield. It's stuff like this that you need to evaluate for each and every support separately. So DPS basic attack good, support basic attack bad. Doing artifact domains before adventure rank 45, that is the worst idea I had ever had. I started doing this as soon as I hit AR 30 since there was a chance on a 4-star. Listen again, a chance on a 4-star. Why the hell did I think that was a great idea? World bosses and quests give great artifacts for your team as is, so you can get through the story and through AR45 with those artifacts no problem. Sure, it is nice to see a Crimson Witch of Flame set on your Pyro character or a Thundering Fury on your Electro character, but it's really not worth it. Take it from a guy that spent 20 fragile resin on this and is now at AR45 dreading that decision entirely. Those fragiles would grant me so many 5-star artifacts. I implore you, Do not farm artifacts until you are at least AR45. Not leveling your weapon first. Now, I've said it countless times in previous videos, even the first one I made. Your weapon is what makes everything more powerful. It increases your base attack, which in turn increases your overall attack when artifacts calculate their attributes upon the base attack. I've seen myself crank up my character's level before my weapon countless of times, and I hit myself in the head for it too. There's another video I would like to address your attention to which explains the best way to progress. This counts toward all world levels, so it's still easy to follow. Considering everything in this mistakes list and in the other videos, you will arrive in the best place in Genshin Impact. Talking about weapons, another mistake surrounding them is to level up the wrong weapons. I can't really specify this on a personal level since you might have a different playstyle or not the right weapons. But what I mean to say is, you might get a 4-star weapon and equip it willy-nilly on a character and level it up, only to realize later that it has a wrong attribute enhancement. Clearly check which character you are handing a weapon to. Check the substats of those characters to see where they strive. For instance, take note to what attribute is raised when your character ascends. For some, this would be attack percentage. Then this character would benefit greatly for even more attack percentage, or you can think ahead and give them a weapon with an attribute that they lack, like energy recharge for example. I made this mistake with my Zhangling for instance. I received a 4-star polearm, gave it to her and maxed it out, wasting so many enhancement ores, only to realize that there's a better in slot for her, that I can just create. Build your character first, before enhancing and leveling them. Neglecting the ley lines. If you're only starting the game and you haven't been making any of the mistakes I referenced before, you could probably neglect this mistake. The reason I state this mistake is since I made the prior ones, I have been coming short on Mora and XP books. If you notice your material numbers dwindling, start doing ley lines and hoarding those books and Moras. The numbers for character ascension cost and weapon ascension cost for Mora alone will rise drastically. So do those ley lines. Also, something that I mentioned a lot, but not marking stuff on your map is such a waste. Now, in the beginning, I told everyone to mark where they had found every oculi. The thing I would suggest now is using the interactive map instead. On the interactive map, you can check off which ones you have found already and guide yourself through the in-game map with the interactive map. You can find oculi, sealies, challenges, treasure chests, ores, you name it. On the interactive map, you can select platinum ore, for instance, and find the location in-game. Now, I would suggest to pin the location on your in-game map so you can find the spot later without having to navigate to the interactive map again. This way you can find great spots and slowly start to phase out the interactive map of your game plan. Until the next expansion comes out, I'd say. Wishing on the wrong banner. This is a tough one since there is so much that comes into play here. But this is mostly pointed towards the free-to-play audience. You will be saving your primo gems to wish for a character you really want. Maybe it's one of those base 5 stars one like a Ching or Jean. You would think, hey, I can summon on the standard banner since I don't like the rate up character or something. I would advise against this. The standard banner has 5 5-star characters and 10 5-star weapons. So when you do see that sweet orange glow, it's about a 1 in 3 chance it's a character. And that 1 in 3 chance is divided into 5 again to be the character you want. The character banner indeed has a rate up character, but it still only has 5-star characters in the pool. If you get that orange glow, it's 100% a character and 50% chance on the rate up one. If it was not the rate up this time, the next one is guaranteed to be the rate up character. Think about this when wishing. But note that I wish every single one of you luck in your pulls. There are surely more mistakes you could learn from, but these are the extremely important ones. I hope I could have helped you in any way here. If you're still on the lower ends of the adventure ranks, you can adjust course and steer clear from these mistakes. Thank you for watching this video to completion, you absolute legend. Leave a like and consider subscribing to help me get into the better side of YouTube's algorithm so others can enjoy the content as well. This was Galaxy Brain Glitchy. Have a good one.